guys, you're watching Cait Straight Up, and I am Caitlin, and today I'm going to show you how to make Crockpot butternut squash soup. I cannot believe that after all of our years together, I have not shared this recipe with you because it's one of my favorites. I make it all the time, and it seems like such an obvious thing to share with my fall audience, except I realized going back through my videos that I never shared this recipe with you. So we are going to make a super simple, super easy butternut squash soup. There's a couple little added bonus flavors in there. It's going to be awesome, and it's the perfect thing to make with a butternut squash. So let's get going. So we're starting with some cubed up butternut squash. Depending on the size of the squash that you get, you can use one or two and also how much soup you want. So we're going to want to have some nice sized cubes of our butternut squash, so just chop it all up. Depending on how much soup you want, you can use one large one. If it looks a little small, you can use two. And get it into your crock pot. After that, we are adding about 2 tablespoons of butter that I brought to room temperature, but it is going into the crock, so if you haven't had time to bring it to room temperature, don't worry about it, it'll melt. After that, we're going to add 2 more vegetables. We have 1 white onion chopped up. You could chop it real rough because we're going to blend this soup at the end. And about 1 cup to 1.5 cups of shredded carrot. I just ran mine through my veggie bullet, but go ahead and either buy it shredded or just kind of grate it up against a grater, or you could put in large chunks as well. Then you're going to want to kind of mix it up so your veggies are kind of all mixed up in your crock pot. You can see I'm making quite a large batch here, but it actually cooks down and you'll end up with less soup than you think because these cubes are much larger than what's going to happen when they cook down and we blend it all together. So don't be deceived. After that, we have 2 more ingredients before we add our spices. So I have here about 2 to 4 cloves of garlic minced. I like garlic, so we don't want the garlic to be overpowering, so feel free to take that down if you are not a garlic person. And we have 1 container of a veggie broth. You can use organic, regular, whatever you want, just 1 whole container of a vegetable broth into your crock pot. Here's a hint. If you happen to have chicken broth lying around your house and you want to make this soup and you have everything but the broth, that works fine also, but a veggie broth is nice. So all of our vegetables are in, our veggie broth is in, and it's time for some spices. So I got some thyme. Thyme's pretty strong, so you don't need that much of it, and some parsley. Parsley is not as strong, so go ahead and put in what you want there. We'll also kind of garnish when we're done with it with a little bit of parsley as well, so just get that in. And then we are going to do a little bit of an onion powder just to have that onion flavor. And then we have 2 other spices that we're going to add before we do some salt and pepper. So we have some sage. I don't want to add too much sage in, so I usually like to pour mine out and then just kind of sprinkle it throughout. You don't want to overdo it on the sage, just a nice little flavor there. That's good. And then I actually add a little bit of a chili or a cayenne powder. A cayenne powder goes really great, and the tiniest bit. You don't want this to be spicy, but a little bit of heat actually goes great with this, and you don't even notice it once you blend it all together, but it just has a really nice flavor to it. Last steps, we're going to do a little bit of salt. I don't want to make it too salty because we already have that broth in there, and then some black pepper. I love pepper. I top it with pepper when I serve it, but I do put a little bit in here, or a lot, in my crock. Then we're going to give this 1 final stir. It should be a little bit easier to blend now because we got that broth in there. And just get all your spices and everything mixed together. And this is going to look nothing like a soup at all, I know. But we are going to cover it and cook it on either high for 4 hours or low for 8. And then it's going to be nice and soft. We're going to run our immersion blender through it. It's going to be absolutely delicious. So like I said, cover that bad boy up, set it on your counter, go to work, do whatever you need to do. High for 4 hours, low for 8 hours, and then you're going to have a delicious soup that is ready to be so creamy, it's going to be delicious. And after that 4 or 8 hours, you're going to have a nice kind of mushy muck going on in here that needs to be blended together. Sometimes you could just hit it up with a spoon or a whisk and it'll actually blend on its own, but most of the time I like to take my immersion blender and blend it through. That way all of your veggies come together into one solid soup. You don't have pieces of carrot, pieces of onion. It's a nice blended soup that's absolutely delicious. All your flavors are there, so just run it quickly through your immersion blender. And then you're going to run about 1 tablespoon of some heavy cream through it. Give it a stir, top it with some pepper and parsley, and serve. That cream at that last minute gives it a delicious, decadent, creamy flavor. It makes it a little bit, I can't even explain it. Just do it, guys, and comment below because you're going to love it. Make sure to subscribe to Cait Straight Up for more fall recipes like this one and so many other kind of recipes. We cook a lot here. We're on YouTube every Tuesday, but we are on Instagram in between, so find me there, Cait Straight Up Cooking. And other than that, guys, comment below, and I hope that you enjoyed this recipe, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.